Hello and welcome to Instant Transmission, a podcast where we discuss everything Dragon Ball and the difficulty of not making the same jokes as abridged. Tonight, we're going even deeper down the lineup of DBZ movie releases with the Dragon Ball Z Bojack Unbound movie, who is also somehow not the most redneck character in the series. I'm your host, Dayton, and once again, I'm joined by my co-host, Todd.
Hi.
And tonight's episode will once again be more of our thoughts and opinions covering a 1993 movie release in Japan and 2004 release here in the States. There's a ton of interesting trivia with this movie, so I really do suggest checking out the Dragon Ball wiki page, and it includes original trivia tips such as this. The original poster for the movie showing Goku using the Kamehameha wave, which never actually happened in the movie. And with all that covered, was there anything you wanted to add before we got things started, Todd?
We talked about a little bit of this trivia before we started the recording, but I just gotta say the title for the Japanese one, or at least the translation, is hilarious. It's Dragon Ball Z, the Galaxy at the Brink, the Super Incredible Guy, and I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, and eventually I'll find it, but I guess the original trailer had like the villains as vampires. I'm totally down to find that. I want that.
We tried. We failed, but we'll find it eventually.
But anyway, so the movie Bojack Unbound begins with a bunch of fighters from space arriving on Earth to participate in some sort of intergalactic martial arts tournament that some rich guy is putting on for his spoiled brat. Am I understanding this correctly?
That's my best understanding of it. It shows Mr. Satan because it's a tournament, so we got to have the strongest guy in the world here present. And then we slowly get to see our Z Fighter cast. I think they reveal Tien, Yamcha, Krillin, of course, Gohan, and funny enough, we get Future Trunks here too.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's an interesting cast of characters. I feel like at this point it's just like Piccolo saving Gohan, Future Trunks has to make his appearance in every single movie at this point. And, I guess I'm okay with it because I love Future Trunks. But, man, I wish the movies were a little better so that way he could actually do some badass stuff.
Yes, I agree. This movie is an interesting one. Krillin's kicking some ass right off the bat. He beats up a bunch of the normal humans, I guess, and then he's kind of discouraged as he sees the rest of the cast who are fighting. Piccolo also being amongst them as well. This is also interesting because Chi-Chi is actually here cheering for Gohan. She's said that he's been studying and she wants him to participate for once.
And I noticed a couple things here because at this point they show that Goku is dead and hanging out with King Kai. So this is presumably taking place after the Cell games. And we also see, was it just me or did Gohan actually look like he was a little bit older than he was in the Cell games?
I think he is drawn a little bit to look at least at his age at the end of the Cell games. But yeah, I could see him. He looks maybe a little bit older for sure.
At the very least, I think wearing the training gi like Goku makes him look a little bit more mature in my eyes at bare minimum.
I think you're right. Yeah. It's interesting to see him in that gi, especially at this age. I will say this is personally my favorite Gohan. Maybe not necessarily like this gi, but just this age. His hair is short. He's already Super Saiyan. I like this Gohan a lot. It's been probably 20 plus years since I've seen this movie, and my memory of it was vastly different than what I got on a rewatch.
Well, I mean, and I've never seen this movie. And right away, I want to point out that this is one of the movies that probably picks up with action, I guess, the fastest. Even if it's not necessarily important action, there's stuff happening. Like within the first few minutes of the movie, we're getting people fighting at a intergalactic martial arts tournament. So I'm at least being drawn in at this point.
That's a great point. I have some notes to talk about this in terms of pacing and weird usage of time for this movie. But at the very least, you're engaged right from the get-go. There's fighting happening, there's a tournament, it's entertaining from the start at the very least.
Yeah, and I like it because the initial stages are basically these big 25-man free-for-alls just to kind of sift through as many people as possible. And so you see just crowds of people being thrown off the stage as everyone competes for their chance at the, I think it was like 100 million zenny or whatever the prize money was.
Probably something like that. We also get to see. I mean, there's a few just like fun moments. I did like the scene where Krillin's fighting in the grand melee, and he's like the stage shifts to one side. He's hanging on by his arms on one side of the stage, and like half a dozen guys try to grab onto his head as they fall off, and they just slide right off. And he has a comment in there, something like, "Yeah, I wax."
I actually had a good laugh at that too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun, and quite frankly, I would have been upset if he lost, but I am fine with him winning in comical fashion. I thought, I mean, they even give him a couple scenes of him just like punching and kicking people that look good.
Yeah, yeah. He definitely ends up being the butt of the joke multiple times in this movie, which is just like they just shit on Krillin a lot in these movies. And I get it, it's funny, but also, man, my boy Krillin, he's done dirty.
Yeah, he doesn't catch a break, and but at this point, I'm used to it. I'm strong, and he's been way made fun of way worse than what this movie does, so I can live with this.
It's true.
Well, we also see that Tien and Yamcha, and I believe you already said Piccolo, but they're all so basically all the Z fighters here are participating in it. And right away, our first Z fighter actually gets eliminated pretty early as a kind of like distracted, despairing Yamcha who's not really paying attention. Gets knocked over and off of his arena ledge and is the first eliminated. So once again, Yamcha also being one of the butt ends of the joke.
Which, yeah, we're kind of used to that too. I will say flying is treated strangely in this. Like the fact that Yamcha didn't fly there, which I mean, there's arguments for. And then there's a point where there's multiple points where Krillin almost falls. Because I think the idea is that like if you fall into the water, there's water surrounding these arenas, you are considered out. And yeah, Krillin almost falls several times. And we all know he can fly just fine.
Yeah, this isn't like initial like just learn to fly kind of stages. These guys have been flying around for years at this point.
And it's not like I mean, sometimes they kind of restrict themselves when they're fighting in tournaments with like normal people. But there's a fight between Tien and Trunks where they're just flying around, shooting ki blasts and blowing shit up. So it's like, what is going on?
I mean, I just feel like at this point in Dragon Ball Z, flying is almost as easy as walking for these people. Like,
Right.
it'd be weird if they forgot how to walk for some reason. Like, oh my god, I can only crawl now. Like, that's the way I look at this non-flying incident.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But we do get an actual fight between Trunks and Tien, which it is kind of fun to see these two fight. It's like a weird pairing, I guess. But Trunks goes Super Saiyan pretty shortly into the fight, and I mean, Tien is no match. Let's be real here. If we want to talk power levels, Trunks has just outpaced him by a million miles.
Yeah, I mean it's fun-ish for a second before the gold gets popped on, but the fight was decided before they started, and I'm glad you commented on these two characters being paired up because these two you'd almost never see them interacting with each other. They're also two very serious characters, so it's kind of this personality clash that you could see happening, but the two do have a mutual respect for each other by the end.
Yeah, I like that. We also kind of get a quick scene of Vegeta just like lying in his room watching the tournament. I don't even know if they cover this in the dub. So in the manga and in the Japanese, by the end of the Cell Saga, Vegeta says, I'm never gonna fight again. Whether that's like an expression of, him getting beat by Cell or Goku dying and no longer being around. But I like that they actually kind of explore that detail in this movie. That's interesting.
Yeah, if anything, they should have put like, I don't know, like Cheetos or something next to him. Like he should have just been like vegging out.
He's just got the Thor dad bod, just a big Cheetos gut.
Oh yeah, and he's got like he shows up to every battle with just like cheese stained fingers. Like I would love that.
All over his nice Saiyan gloves.
But yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because I forgot about that. I was like, why wouldn't Vegeta show up to the fight? But you're right. I do believe that is expressed at the end of the Cell Cell games, or at least you told me that because it did have something to do with like him not being the one who defeated Goku or something like that. Like, or it was definitely like an issue of pride, oddly enough.
Yeah, I think probably one of the reasons that you're remembering it too is because I think they did in Dragon Ball Kai. I think they included that dialogue. I don't think they did in the original Dragon Ball Z dub though. Um, but yeah, I just thought that detail was interesting, and we'll get to see at least a little bit of the Saiyan Prince here coming up. Our tournament kind of continues with Piccolo gives up, basically just dips out of the fight with Krillin. He's like, these people aren't worth my time. And then it
This
turns
is
into
probably one of the more disappointing things to me because I would have liked to have seen the two actually have a little bit of a bout. I know Krillin's going to lose this fight, but it would have been cool to see, like, just for a second, Krillin put Piccolo on the back foot, like catch him off guard, do something wily. But unfortunately, we get basically nothing here.
I felt the same. I was actually really excited because one, I forgot what happens in this movie, but two, this is kind of like, it feels like it was going to be a nod to the original Dragon Ball when Krillin and Piccolo fought in the tournament, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that a lot. And then they don't do anything with it.
Yep, opportunity wasted. Piccolo basically taps out saying that he's kind of disappointed in the quality of the fighters and just allows Krillin to win the round and advance on. And this gets us down to the final four fighters, and they'll be continuing their fights on Battle Island 2. And we do get a shot of the final four, and it's Future Trunks, Gohan, Krillin, and some big guy.
Yeah, some big guy is right. One thing I want to point out too, I think you might have mentioned this, Dayton, but we are kind of getting little snippets of Goku in other worlds. So Goku's dead alongside King Kai and Bubbles and Gregory. And one of the things that I like as just an interesting detail is that they're on like this little plot of rock just off of Snake Way, which is, it's very funny. It also makes sense, but it's just funny that Goku brought Cell to King Kai's planet. He detonated, killed all of them, well, except for Cell. And then King Kai, Goku, Bubbles, and Gregory, being dead in the other world, basically are just dead pretty much in the same place. They just don't have King Kai's planet to be on, which is funny to me.
Yeah, and I mean, it's nice to see that there is some attention to detail. Like they actually paid attention to what happened at the end of the Cell game. So we know who's dead. We know what happened to his planet. And, there's a little bit of a nod to that going on. The writers paid some attention, and we're seeing that.
One thing I will say about that too is that this feels to me like maybe one of the few Dragon Ball Z movies that could actually fit into the timeline. I don't think there's any like weird discrepancies in this one. They do mention that presumably Trunks came back in time again because Bulma says something about Trunks beating the androids in his timeline. So I don't know if he's just hanging out or what, but that's probably the only like slightly weird thing about this movie.
Yeah, and even then, that's something that you could easily, hand wave. He has a time machine. He can travel through time. So I don't see why he wouldn't come back and visit every now and then.
Sure. Yeah.
And I also think that even at the start of Boo, I think they mentioned that there's like a several year break between the end of the Cell games and the start of Boo. So there's actually just a big runway for them to land a movie in.
For sure. Yeah, it's about, I think it's about 6 or 7 years between the two. So yeah, this strangely fits almost perfectly. And as we kind of move into this next part of the tournament here, there's like almost like a pod race sort of little skit, a little bit of comedy with that. Then it turns into, this is where the movie kind of like finally kicks off with the actual plot as our four finalists run into these strange alien fighters.
Yeah, and real quick, I do want to point out that everyone's doing these like one-on-one fights in different biomes. And I thought, oh, what a cool idea. We can see how they, fight in Lava Land, or Iceland or whatever. These biomes don't do anything. There's
No.
absolutely no impact on anything. And we're going to be in these biomes for about 5 seconds before we just go somewhere else. And I thought this was just a complete like miss as far as setting up plot, as far as setting up background. Like, why would you take us to all these cool locations and then do like literally absolutely nothing with them?
I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right. One other thing that I got to bring up is that we are over 20 minutes into this movie at this point, and we're only this is a 50-minute movie. We're just getting into the plot of this movie. Like, we had 20 minutes of this tournament, which sure is kind of fun, but there's nothing like, even the fighting is kind of meh in the tournament. But it has nothing to do with the rest of the plot of the movie. Like, we're just
really
meeting the characters.
It's really weird because I'm kind of like, I'm not going to say I was bored, but I'm not going to say I was really entertained either up till this point where I didn't know what to think about it, because you're showing me like really light action and you're kind of setting things up a little bit, but not really. You're like really drip feeding little plot points to me. This was a very strange 20 minutes of a movie because you're telling me all this stuff is happening, but also nothing's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not as bad as some of the other ones where it's like they just kind of dragged their feet. But most of the other movies felt like we were at least getting into the narrative much earlier than the 20-minute mark. So I don't know. I just had weird feeling about it. Especially because we meet these alien fighters and we had our fourth finalist in the tournament who was the big guy who just gets murdered by them. We don't learn a lot about these guys, honestly. King Kai kind of gives us like some exposition about Bojack and how he was sealed in a star and how King Kai's planet being blown up removed that seal. But I feel like that's basically the full background we get.
Yeah, it's it's a 1 minute scene that gives us kind of the setup of why everything is happening. And then the rest of it is just kind of martial arts tournament. Actually, to kind of even go even further, let me go into Krillin's first little fight here because it kind of puts a bow on it. Krillin's the first to square off against one of these alien opponents, and it's some green female space fighter with like long orange hair, but she says absolutely nothing. Does not say a single word with her fight with Krillin. And it's a brief fight. Like, she hits Krillin a couple times and Krillin's defeated. So it's a very uninteresting fight. But the fact that she didn't say one single line of dialogue, like normally they in these movies, they spend some time to have like the leader reference them by name and order people around. Like, there's kind of a small connection weaved between the villainous characters. There's absolutely none here. I don't know who this person is. I don't know what they sound like. I don't know I don't know anything that they do. And we're 20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, that's another great point. And it's funny because I like her design. Like, sometimes the movie designs are a little bit over the top, but this, I don't know if Akira Toriyama, I have a feeling he did not do the designs for Bojack and his henchmen. But this one feels the female character here. I should probably pull up a list of their names because I don't know any of their names. But I like her design, so I would love to like see more of her character. I'd like her to be more of a fleshed out character.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see a little bit more of these henchmen later, but with Krillin, we basically get nothing. The random guy who made it to the final four, he gets grabbed and choked out by another green alien dude with like an orange mohawk and purple vest, but we don't really get much out of him. Trunks is the first one to get a little bit more of an interaction as he begins facing off with another big green man. These are a bunch of big green people. This guy has baggy shirt and shorts or pants and a sword, which I'm thinking, hell yeah, we're gonna get a sword fight between Trunks and Swordman. Did you think the same thing?
That was my biggest disappointment in this whole flipping movie is the guy shows up with a sword to fight Trunks, who is the sword guy. And Trunks doesn't have his sword the whole time. I'm like, what are you doing? This was our one time to get a sword fight in Dragon Ball.
Well, and to rub salt into the wound, there's a moment later where I think we're finally going to get that sword fight, and we still don't get it.
Ah,
But we'll get there. We'll get there because this is definitely a huge missed opportunity. Like, I fucking love swords and spears, and anytime, like, Deborah is one of my favorite characters because he's such an interesting fighter. I love it when you
yes.
bring new elements into the DBZ fighting equation, whether that's weapons or weird powers or weird transformations. Anything you do to kind of shift the fighting dynamic makes me like a character more. But in this case, well, we'll get into Trunks in just a second because I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But anyway, so the big thing with Trunks is they start facing off, but we see that when this Green Man like powers up, we see like the jewelry he's wearing like glow, and there's some sort of relationship between like his necklace and earrings and his power. And I will tell you that by the end of the movie, they don't explain this, and I don't know what the hell this means.
Not even remotely. I was shocked at how little they go into like the power-ups and the transformations for the bad guys in this movie. There's almost nothing to it. Like even them going through the transformations, if you're not paying close attention, you would almost miss that they transform at all.
The one of the guys, I did miss the transformation. Like at some point, I'm just like, when'd your hair get red?
Yeah, yeah, I don't blame you for missing it. I was like had to do a double take where I was like, oh, I think he transformed there. Um, but yeah, they do have some sort of power up or transformation. Somehow it's connected to their jewelry. Um, I think that some of the games and maybe some of the books and lore have explained this stuff more. Because I remember there being more of an explanation to it and how it's tied back to Bojack in some way. Um, Off the top of my head, I don't remember it though. It's obviously they don't tell us in the movie, so it's not very memorable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They don't say anything about it. I thought that was a mystery that was going to be explored later. Nope, it's just a mystery. And that's it for Trunks for now because we're going over to Gohan and his battle. And we see that his opponent's kind of like the shorter green man with a red shirt, white pants, and he's wearing like a turban. And once again, when this character is activating his mysterious powers, we see that his jewelry light up, and we won't know what that means, but it's related somehow. But Gohan's fighting a weird one.
Yes. So a couple things. I'm just gonna go through the list of their names because I pulled it up. I did not remember any
Do
of
they
their
even
names.
say their names in this?
I don't think they give us any of their names except for Bojack. I could be wrong. There might be like one or two other names, but uh the female character is Zangya, and I might be saying some of these wrong. The guy with the sword fighting Trunks is Kogu. The one fighting Gohan with kind of like weird, almost like psychic powers is Bujin. The big bulky guy with the orange mohawk and goatee is Beto. And then I think that's all of the henchmen. And then last we have Bojack to round out our 5-man team here because I mean every good team has to have 5 people. We're looking
That's
at
true.
you, Ginyu Force.
So now that we know the names, I'm not going to be using them because I won't remember them. And
Same.
quite frankly, the show didn't remember them, so I don't feel motivated. But we
Yeah.
go back to Trunks, who is getting smashed around at this point, and he's pushed to the point where he has to actually activate his Super Saiyan powers. He stands to his feet, actually catching his opponent's blade like on his forearm, shattering it, and then delivering a return punch that goes straight through the Green Man's chest. And we see Trunks kind of like turn thinking the battle's over because he just punched through the guy's torso. But the guy flips back to his feet and delivers this kind of surprise blow that seems to down our hero.
Yeah. This is interesting. And I'm trying to remember here because you see him take that guy out. Um I'm trying to remember if that was even supposed to be like the original guy that he was fighting, or if that was supposed to be implied that it was Bojack who was taking him out. Because we don't see the sword guy after that point, do we?
I don't know. They look
Okay.
a lot of the green people look the same to me, and I'm gonna get in
That's what
trouble
I
for saying
mean.
that.
Either way, Trunks seemingly takes that guy down and then gets taken out by. They basically just show you like the shadow I'm not sure if it was supposed to be implied that it was Bojack or just the same
See,
guy.
I thought maybe it was
Um,
supposed to be because in my head I was like, oh, it must be those mysterious jewels that kept him alive. There must be something strange going on here, but maybe not. Maybe I don't know. Just the
yeah,
storytelling medium is not great.
it's pretty unclear with a lot of stuff going on in this movie, which is unfortunate. Um, it was also interesting. Well, Trunks takes a little while to transform. It was interesting that like the bad guy transformed really early. Uh, I don't know. They do a weird job in terms of like when the good guys choose to transform. It's not as egregious in this one as some of the other
Oh
ones.
gosh, yeah. And some of the other ones, it was like, okay, you've been fighting in base form for 10 minutes now. I'm looking at you, Android 13.
That's the one I was thinking of. That one was real bad.
But yeah, we go over to King Kai, who tells Goku that the Earth is in danger, and this is where we get the Bojack reveal, and the whole King Kai's planet was part of a seal, and it was destroyed during the Cell games, and that's how Bojack was released. So this is where like the big information dump on the actual background of what this movie is about happens, and it's about the only background we get.
Yeah, I kind of jumped forward on that because it is truly like the only information we get about these characters. It's also interesting because we kind of go back to the fight, and all of our characters at this point are kind of converging. As well, Krillin got beat up by the female Bojack minion. Trunks got beat up by the well, maybe by Bojack. We don't really know. Uh, but their bodies kind of just get dumped into this like one of these arenas that's been set up for this tournament, and they dump them there where Gohan, Yamcha, and Tien are, and then all of our Bojack gang shows up, and this is why I think it's probably Bojack who hits Trunks and knocks him out, is because we don't see that fifth sword Bojack minion at this point. Um, but we also now get to see a couple of the minions take out Yamcha and Tien with a few swift movements, basically leaving Gohan all alone to fight the other four.
You know, and I kind of like this Gohan versus the world kind of moment. This is actually where I think where Gohan usually does his best is when he's pushed up into a corner like that. Um, and I like that Gohan doesn't really mess around here. Like he flips on the gold right at the start and begins fighting Bojack's henchman on his own. Like he's kind of a badass here. And this is a side of Gohan that I really love seeing and I wish we saw more.
I 100% agree. He goes Super Saiyan right away. He's like, I mean, he's trying his hardest here. Um,
And this is probably one of
I
the more fun battles in this movie, I think, when Gohan's fighting all of them. Like the overall, the battle animation's pretty poor, this movie. And this is, I would say, one of the highlight moments where Gohan's kind of getting knocked around, but he's still like, there are scenes where he is like deflecting a blow and returning a punch, and then someone shows up behind and hits him. So there's actually a little bit of choreography that's being spelled out in this fight.
yeah, I definitely agree. I this again, this version of Gohan is my favorite. Like 11-year-old Gohan, Super Saiyan 1 form. I love the way his hair looks, the character design. He's super he's so strong. Like he's stronger than Goku. Uh, So he's like the strongest person. Um and we don't get to see him fight like that very long at all. We basically get to see him get his ass beat by Cell, and then he goes into Super Saiyan 2. And even that, we don't get to see him fight a lot. So that's what I wanted to see more of in this movie was Gohan being a badass. Unfortunately, this is a like pretty much all we get is this scene.
Yeah, it's pretty brief. It's only like a minute or two long. A couple exchanges, a little bit of choreography, and then Gohan's basically just like blasted down hard and then is hit by a massive red key blast and is pushed up against a corner or against a wall where several more little key blasts kind of back him against the wall. And this is where we get the tried and true Bojack's gonna finish off our hero, but a special beam cannon saves our boy from off screen.
This is so. We've talked about this for I think every single
Yes.
movie. This is so funny to me that this is Gohan's movie. In Gohan's movie, he's saved by Piccolo.
Yeah, it's okay. Did you notice the music at all during this fight?
I not specifically. Was there something you noticed about it?
I mean, we're off of the like the the hot rock and pop music that was going around at the early 2000s. We're not doing that anymore. They just had some like rock and roll guitar kind of generic stuff accompanying the scene. The rest of the movie I hadn't noticed it, like it kind of fell into the background. But I noticed it a little bit here. I thought the music score was okay. It's
Okay.
definitely I can't remember where it's been used before. It's not a new or original score or anything, but um, the electric guitar choice that they used for it kind of matched the scene. So it was the only time in this movie where I was just like, oh, that sounded okay.
I will say this is one of the few movies that I didn't notice the music either good or bad, which I mean, again, that must basically means it was neutral. Like it was so okay that it didn't like pull me out of it, but it wasn't like stand out enough that I was like, "Oh, that's really good." Which is to be honest, better than I could say for a lot of them. So,
See, I'm in the exact same boat because there's been plenty of these movies where the music just feels jarring or like it doesn't fit the scene or where like it's, a devastating scene, but the music's like a little bit too upbeat. And you're like, what is going on here? Yeah, this was probably the most okayest movie we've seen so far as the music scores go.
yeah. Yeah, it's it doesn't pull you out of it. Like you said, they did kind of get rid of like the I don't know, 90s and early 2000s like rock music, like Deftones and all that stuff, but um yeah, it's interesting. Kind of shifting back to the fight here, we do get like the heroes start to kind of like rally again because I think we see Trunks get up. Piccolo's in the fight now, which Piccolo gets. Uh, he kind of has a moment, I think, briefly. Which thinking on it, he's a super Namekian, so it kind of makes sense. But he gets knocked out of the fight pretty quick. Super Saiyan Trunks comes back in trying to fight. Um, he actually gets saved by Vegeta, which I actually really like this. When Vegeta comes in and like blocks an attack, I think it was the spear by throwing Trunks' sword into it. That's pretty freaking cool.
And this is where I was just like, oh, Trunks finally has his sword. We can get that sword fight I thought we were going to get earlier. But I think you pointed out that that guy was actually dead there. So I was trusting a hope that I never should have had.
Yeah, I mean we do see the one guy throw like I think it's like a psychic thrown spear at Trunks, so we could have seen something with that more, I guess, but I don't even know if we see Trunks use the sword. He buckles it on, and I don't even know if he uses it.
You're right. I don't think he uses the sword. He used the sword as much as Goku used the Kamehameha.
It's like a red herring here. We just kind of got screwed over. Um,
I will say that's
it,
a cool Vegeta arrival. Like I give him some credit on that. Shows up, saves his future boy, gets the sword in the mix. Like he kind of looks like a badass here.
I do like it. It doesn't last long, but he does. He's basically like, I'm gonna take on Bojack. It's a very Vegeta thing to do to be like, I'm going for the head honcho, man. Like I'm not fighting these peons or these minions. Um, but he gets beat pretty handily. I think he basically gets like blasted by a key blast, and he's more or less out of the fight.
I mean, it looks neat, doesn't make sense, but there's a scene where I think they're like going down like floors of the building, exchanging key blasts at each other through the windows. It's kind of a neat animation. Like there's not a ton to this fight, but it's definitely kind of a standout for me.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool, and I mean I'm a Vegeta fanboy, so I enjoy anytime Vegeta shows up and gets to be a badass. Um, Gohan at some point is trying to like he basically goes over to check on Piccolo, and Piccolo's like, "I'm not gonna be any use to you. Go on without me." It's kind of just a funny exchange.
Piccolo fought for like 5 seconds.
Uh,
This fight is such a chaotic mess, like, and not in a good way, in my opinion. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
they put all these characters here, but they didn't actually know what to do with all of them. So everyone's just kind of like standing around or knocked out or like waiting to do something. It's a really awkward team fight.
I agree. And I like watching team fights. I also kind of forgot there's a uh, basically Vegeta gets like pounded into a building by Bojack, and then Bojack basically has Vegeta beat, and then he just goes super Bojack, whatever the hell you want to call it. He transforms, and I was kind of like, wait, what? What happened? Why did he transform? What's going on?
I think, man, is this where his hair turns red?
Yeah, his skin goes from like a dark green to a light green,
Yeah,
and he
I
loses his shirt.
I just I don't know. I must have been looking away or typing in notes or something because he must have transformed. And then like the next thing I look, I'm just like, wait, when did that happen? When did you transform?
It's so fast, and there's not really any like rhyme or reason. Like usually there's some sort of event that happens, or maybe the bad guy's
It's
like
an
on the back
emphasized point in
foot.
Dragon Ball. Like it's the transformations are it's a big part of Dragon Ball. And usually you spend a moment on it. Like even like mundane Super Saiyan transformations give a few seconds of acknowledgement.
It just happens. It's just almost out of nowhere. I don't even think we really see like the a lot of the other ones. Like Bojack is wearing the jewelry and stuff that we see on the other guys. They don't even show it like flash or anything. So there's just so many things that feel kind of disconnected or like missed opportunities or just information that they don't give the audience in this movie.
Yeah, there definitely feels like there's a big rush factor to this one that like even the other ones you could tell that they're just kind of getting them out the door, but this one feels like the most out the door.
Yeah. So I mean at this point I think pretty much all the other guys are beat. I think Trunks gets hit one more time by the bad guys. They've got this sort of like web technique that drains their energy or something. They end up using that on Trunks and then on Gohan. And Bojack is about to finish Gohan off when we get one more save from none other than the champ.
Is this Goku?
Hercules on the scene, baby.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Hercule basically got shoved into a pod and forced to go help in the battle for Earth. And upon arriving unseen, I believe Bojack sees him and just immediately blows up his little pod as it flies onto scene. And just you see Mr. Satan just like a flaming ball come flying out of it as he does survive somehow. Like I don't know how, but he does. And this enrages Gohan and kind of pushes him to kick it up a notch.
It frees Gohan from the web. You see Mr. Satan like fall into the ground. There's a detail that I love that like he almost like a Looney Tunes character falls through the stone ground in the city. And you see his like outline, his silhouette, and even his afro has like broken through the stone. uh But yeah, this gives Gohan frees him up from getting finished off by Bojack and allows him a moment of reprieve, which Bojack still kind of like beats Gohan down. He even gives Gohan. We've talked about these movies kind of taking inspiration from a lot of the show, and Bojack gives Gohan the patented cell double arms around the torso, squeezed to death.
Yeah, and Gohan's yelling out and he's in tons of pain. And, we get some good voice acting here. The screams sound painful. And, everyone is passed out. Like everyone's taken their Z Fighter patented nap in an important time. And we see Goku, who's kind of watching from Otherworld, kind of screaming out that he wants to help his son and decides that he's going to instant transmission from the grave. And he does. He shows up from Otherworld for a moment, delivers a punch to Bojack's face that releases Gohan from his Bojack death hug and kind of cradles Gohan for a moment as he falls, saying, you can do it, buddy. I believe in you.
I have so many questions that will never be answered about this. I kind of like it. Like there's something that I really I mean it's very in Goku's character to be like I don't give a shit what the rules are. I'm going to push past these limitations of being dead and show up in the material world and help my son. Like I like that. That feels very in character. It's you know, Goku caring about his family has been an important detail to him. Uh but and we've seen like in the Buu saga, Baba brings Goku to the tournament with a halo over his head to fight in the material realm. Um, but can he just do that? Can he just instant transmission and show up whenever he wants? Like it's kind of wild.
Just like even just a little bit of something from King Kai, who would just say like, I don't know how you did that, but I don't think you'll ever be able to do that again, or something. Like, I'm with you. I like it. I like that it happened. It does introduce some questions, but I don't think it would take much to really like be like, all right, like, your connection to your son is the only reason why you're even able to do that. Um, like, because that's what's heavily implied. But it would just be nice to kind of get that established. I like the event. If we not getting enough reasoning for it is actually probably better than getting bad reasoning. So I'll just accept it the way it is.
That's a fair point. And yeah, it's we can kind of take it like you said. It's kind of implied that it's just Goku's love for his son that allows him to cross that barrier of being in the realm of the dead to the realm of the living. Um, it's cool, and I mean, anybody who's watched Dragon Ball, especially watching the Cell arc, like Goku, even after death. Again, we're kind of paralleling the Cell arc here, but Goku after death is the one who helped Gohan, just talking him through the fight with Cell. Um, so it makes sense. The thing that I don't like
Oh boy.
is that now Goku punching Bojack off of Gohan and like carrying him to the ground has saved Gohan in this moment, and Gohan's like Gohan could feel and hear his father, and now Gohan has been only in Super Saiyan up to this point. Now goes into Super Saiyan 2. I don't like this. I don't there's almost no like there's almost always a sort of like breaking point for the big transformations. And Gohan's already gone Super Saiyan 2, sure. Some people might say like, oh, it's, again, he's getting the motivation from his dad, sure. I will say, I'm going to tell you, Dayton, if I could fan fix this movie, in at least this moment in this movie, I wish. So we've got Chi Chi is present at the tournament. Chi Chi's almost never present when action is happening in these sorts of situations. I wish Bojack would have threatened Chi Chi.
Okay. All right. I'm listening.
I like if Bojack were basically like, you kind of get the impression he even says something about like, oh, this kid is impressive. Like I want to see what he can do.
Well, Bojack also talks about Gohan's dad, and I get very confused. I'm like, how the hell do you know about Goku? Like, how do you know these characters?
100%. So maybe if they made more of like a connection to Goku, and then like maybe some more reason for Bojack to like want to bring out what Gohan can do. Again, kind of paralleling Cell, which whatever, that's what these movies do. But something we haven't seen, I don't think we've ever seen Chi-Chi being threatened. We've seen her in like the Future Trunks saga in Dragon Ball Super. We saw her basically get killed in another timeline, and that kind of made Goku angry. But we've never really seen Gohan fight for Chi-Chi. And I think I would like that. I think that getting to see Bojack like threaten Chi-Chi's life in this situation where Chi-Chi has no chance of defending herself, and that kind of being the impetus for Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 in this moment.
I do believe in one of the other movies where they're fighting henchmen outside of one of the spaceships, Chi-Chi is involved in the fighting and gets knocked out.
That's a fair point. Yeah. It's in the Lord Slug movie. So it kind of happens there, but
Yeah,
not.
they've tickled the idea of it, but they haven't really, especially like Gohan's capability then versus now is quite drastically different.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, that wasn't a situation where Gohan really could have like finished off the bad guys. I think that I don't know. I wish they would have just done more with this. There's basically no impetus, really, in my mind, for
Well,
him going Super Saiyan 2
they
here.
don't really explain why he can't go Super Saiyan 2, even though he's already done it. And I mean, we've already seen Super Saiyan 2, so the Super Saiyan 2 like reveal is, it's neat, but like why couldn't he do that? I already saw him do it. Why didn't he do it before? So getting some explanation as to why he wasn't Super Saiyan 2. And my thing is I get it, like you get a big power boost when you're fighting for like your friends and family, or if you're backed up into a corner and you hit that emotional spike. And having Chi be the catalyst of that spike would be great. Like I would love to see like, a Super Saiyan 2.5 or something like that be reached when he sees Chi-Chi's life on the line. That would have been great. Honestly, anything would have been great. But if I feel like we got basically nothing here. Like I don't know, I'm kind of like at a loss for what this kind of climactic change was supposed to actually be, because it feels like it's missing something. Like it feels very hollow, this big setup. Like there's no emotional stakes really here. I mean, I get that we're told by King Kai that Bojack wants to destroy the universe or something, but honestly, Bojack doesn't seem like that bad of a guy compared to a lot of the other villains so far.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in this movie. Like we're basically just told that Bojack is an evil guy who's trying to destroy the galaxies or something. Um, we don't really see them do much in the way of evil stuff, except for they kill one no-name guy in the tournament. They don't even kill Krillin and Trunks. Like they had them unconscious, they had them dead to rights. I don't know why they didn't kill them. Uh, as far as Gohan not going Super Saiyan 2, we almost have to like extrapolate from previous lore. Like the thing that I go to is Goku going Super Saiyan, and the way that Goku and Trunks talk about Super Saiyan after Trunks beats Frieza, because Goku basically said like he had to work and train to be able to go Super Saiyan and to like master it and control it. Um,
Like
and
feel it
because
like the tingliness down at the bottom of your back.
oh god, I will never get over that. I try to block it out. But that's kind of where my mind goes. I think the other thing here is that the other way that I justify it in my own mind is that Gohan is not a fighter, and even Chi-Chi said like Gohan's just been studying. He hasn't really been fighting and training, so I don't imagine there has been another reason or situation for him to even use or go Super Saiyan 2 after beating Cell. Um, so again, they don't tell us any of this in the movie. We kind of have to come to these conclusions ourselves, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's where my mind goes anyway.
Or it could just be that Gohan forgot that he was his father's son, and once he remembered, then he gets that power, which was a really weird line. Him screaming out that I'm my father's son. I feel like he could have said something a little bit more impactful.
The dialogue is strange. Definitely strange choices. And this is like, I think this is either late 90s or early 2000s, like Funimation dubbing. Like, this movie definitely did not get an updated version in terms of dubbing. So it's pretty dated.
Yeah, and I mean, just to kind of keep pushing forward, because we're basically at the end here. Um, Gohan with his Super Saiyan 2 powers flipped on, he begins walking towards Bojack, and we see like those webs being thrown out in front of him that we saw earlier that were able to restrain and drain Trunks and even Gohan earlier. Well, this time Gohan basically just kind of walks and kind of key powers up through them, knocking them away from him. And we get another reference to like the Cell arc here with like the mini cells, where Gohan just turns on the Terminator mode and starts just like blasting apart the henchmen.
This, I could be wrong, but I'm like 95% sure that this is reused animation from the Cell arc when Gohan kills the Cell Juniors. If it's not reused animation, it's basically redone to look exactly like that scene. Because even the way he basically like punches through one of the henchmen and like kicks through another one, and it's almost exactly one for one the same as when he decimates the Cell Juniors when he first goes Super Saiyan 2.
It's funny because when we first started watching these movies, you pointed out that a lot of them are references to like different arcs that we've already seen in the series. And the further along we get, I feel like the more obvious the references become, because this was like you were saying, like the animation was like scene for scene the exact same thing. This is probably one of the most on the nose reusing of a story arc that we've already seen.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. Um, which this kind of turns into. I mean, Gohan has basically dispatched the minions of Bojack at this point, and then they have their own little clash where Gohan pretty much just darts forward. Uh, well, I forgot that there's still the, I think her name's Zangya, the female minion that Bojack basically like throws out in front of him and tries to use as like a distraction, that he blasts Zangya from behind to try to blast Gohan, and Gohan just leaps over it. So Bojack just killed one of his minions for basically nothing.
Can I say that I love, 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 love the idea of this? But the execution was just kind of so meh. Because I love the idea of taking, like, this Bojack guy is just so evil that he would take one of his henchmen and just like throw them into the arms of the person he's trying to kill and just use them like as bait like that. I love that idea, but it looks so sillily done where like it almost looks like he throws her forward like 3 feet in front of him and then blasts through her. And then there's like 100 feet between her and Gohan. Like it wasn't a very good distraction.
Yeah, I agree. I will say I did like the visual of the blast from behind her, because you can see the key like blasting through parts of her face and stuff. Like that part of the visual was cool. But yeah, as far as like, I mean, it just looks like Gohan like easily leaps over it. Like there was almost nothing, almost no distraction whatsoever.
And there's no reaction from Gohan. Like you figure it would be like, oh my God, you just killed your own person. Like it would have been nice to get something. I get that he's kind of in Terminator mode, but I feel like
Right.
that would almost kind of like jar you from it, where you're just like, I'm gonna kill that. Oh wow, you killed that person.
Yeah, that's true. Um, but this turns into Gohan basically just charging forward and punching Bojack in the stomach. This has some parallels to him. Actually, maybe not. He hits Cell in the stomach too, but he basically runs his arm through Bojack's torso in this moment.
Well, I think you get the
Uh,
idea that like when Cell's put into that vulnerable state, he's gonna do something crazy, sort of thing. Like I feel like that's the analogy that's kind of happening here. It's just not as good.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Because this basically just results in now Bojack pulling out some sort of massive ki blast. Uh, I will admit I do like the dialogue here where Bojack's like getting ready to do this massive ki blast, and he's like, "Do you have any last words?" And Gohan's like, "I can think of one." Right before he blows off the Kamehameha, I was like, "Oh, that's badass."
Except, does he even say Kamehameha? Like, I don't think he says anything.
That was my biggest problem with it, is I think he says ha when he shoots the beam, but he doesn't actually say Kamehameha, which was that I was like, you have such a good setup line and you don't actually say the word.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, right? So to kind of finish it off, the two blasts meet and there's this giant explosion, and then we get more or less like a anime dash happening through that resulting explosion, where Gohan easily comes out the victory of this exchange. And I think that's it. I think the battle's over. Like there's not really any ceremony or like any reflection, Gohan just kind of like the dust settles and Gohan collapses from his exhaustion. Like it's I don't know. Like it just kind of ends.
I think the only thing that I will add to that is I think they do have a shot. Is it at the end here? They basically do have a line from King Kai. I can't remember exactly what he says, but he does say something about like I think he says something to Goku about uh he was shocked that he was able to like go there, or it's that he broke a bunch of rules by going to the material world. And Goku's like, "Oh, what rules did I break?"
Like, I
That's
don't
about
know.
it.
The monkey's keeping track of it. And then everyone laughs.
Yeah, yeah, that's basically the exchange. So I'm glad that we did at least get to see that. It kind of like puts a little bit of a bow on the whole movie. But this movie's something, man.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts. My first one is that I will give them credit. I feel like they tried to entertain me the entire time.
Yeah,
So I'll give them credit for the attempt. There some of the other movies where like you're halfway in and absolutely nothing, not even like a garbage battle's happened. This is not one of those movies. This one's at least drip feeding me some form of fighting or action or and I don't mind that. Like you don't need every movie to have a thick plot. If it's just some good fighting, and I'm more than happy with that. Unfortunately, it's one of those movies that has the same budget as the other Dragon Ball Z movies. So the fighting doesn't look that great. There's not much choreography to speak of. And like we talked about, the plot doesn't really start happening until almost halfway through the movie. Like you don't really understand what's going on.
this one sits in such a weird space for me because, like you said, I felt engaged from the beginning, but it's such low quality engagement, I guess is the best way to put it. Like it takes 20 minutes to even get to what the main plot is. Um the tournament really doesn't matter. It's just a way of getting all the characters in one spot, I guess. Um I there's almost no good sequences of fighting. Even the ones that we kind of pointed out that were like okay, this is, a fun little moment. They're much lower quality than honestly even than most of the other movies, if I'm being honest. Um the saving grace for this movie for me is I love this Gohan. I love getting to see this version of Gohan, but he doesn't even really get to do a whole lot.
It would have been very nice to see him do just a couple cool things. And my expectations for these movies is getting lower and lower as we watch more of them. And so just a couple cool things would have been enough for this movie to be redeemed for me. Um and you're right. I don't really know what to put my finger on in this movie or where I would even rate this movie compared to the others. Like it's somewhere in the middle. It's definitely not the worst movie I've seen. But it's definitely not the best one of the ones I've seen. So uh yeah. Let's talk about Bojack for a second. Is there anything interesting we can comment on with him? Because I don't he doesn't really use any unique powers, does he?
He transforms.
Okay, yeah,
uh
I guess he does that. I mean, his henchmen at least have like the wiry power thing, so at least there's an interesting factor to them.
yeah. Bojack uses like a key blast here and there, but nothing. It's like beams and balls. Um no, I think his minions are honestly more interesting than he is. He's I'm in my head, I'm right now trying to decide who's less interesting, Bojack or Jiren.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's bad when Jiren comes into the conversation.
At least Jiren, I think we talked about this with Broly. At least Jiren has a backstory.
Yeah, there's there's a compelling part to Jiren. Yeah, Bojack, his story is just kind of like, oh, he was a bad guy that was in prison and now he's not. And now he's
And it
coming to
was
Earth for like some martial arts tournament to blow it up or something. Like, I don't really understand this character.
and his whole story was told to us through King Kai. Like it wasn't even we weren't really shown anything about his character beyond him killing one of his own henchmen. Um, yeah, he's just not interesting at all.
And like
I
even his
like some.
clothing or his character design or look, all of it's pretty meh. Like I can't really comment on any of it. Like he wears like a do rag, until he doesn't, and then his long flowing red hair comes out. Because I mean, like I could look at say Cooler and be like, all right, he didn't really have like a very unique move set, but he was a cool looking character. I can't even say that about Bojack.
No, like I think the one that I like Zanya's design, the female minion. Um, she's the one that she's got. I mean, she's got a simple design, but Akira Toriyama's designs are never, crazy overdone. Um, the other ones I don't really like. They're very boring to me. But at least
Yeah.
the other ones
Yeah.
have interesting techniques. I like the web technique sort of. I wish there were more to it, like more back and forth about how to break it or whatever. Uh, there's a guy with a sword.
Say,
That's cool.
yeah, say I'm like trying to like find anything here because this movie doesn't really give us a lot. Like give me the sword fight with Trunks and I'm over the moon happy. But that opportunity, how do you introduce a sword fighting guy and have him fight the only Z fighter with a sword and not have a sword? Like it just blows my mind.
It drives me crazy because it's not even like this sword fighting guy showed up and like fought Piccolo or something. Like I would have been annoyed about that in a different way, but they put him in a fight with Trunks and they didn't give them a sword fight.
Oh, just the missed opportunity. I think that for me that brings that down like a whole peg for me. Just like you had the thing in front of your face, and even if it's not animated well, and you give it to me, then I can't complain. Like, all right, like I should have expected that, but just it's a massive missed opportunity. Also, like I feel like Vegeta really didn't get much of anything in this movie. Like even less than all the other characters who were at least like in the tournament and maybe doing a couple things here or there. Like Vegeta got about 5 seconds and then was out of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. I did say earlier that I liked what they were doing with showing him like not fighting and stuff. I think I also like him showing up and being like, "Hey, I'm here to defend my son." Um, but yeah, he's like there. He has kind of a cool exchange with Bojack briefly, and then is thrown to the wayside.
No, it's man. I hate to say it, but this is probably one of the least remarkable movies we've seen. Like both good and bad. Like I don't really know what to say about this movie. This is the most middling experience I think I've had in the new series of DBZ, or not new series, the old series of DBZ movies.
This is, I think for me, yeah, I that's a great way to put it. I think because of that, this one would be like very, very low in the my ranking of the Z movies. Um, it's like I like that it at least tries to entertain you throughout, but there's just so little quality entertainment that it's hard for me to enjoy this movie. It's really unfortunate because I thought it had I my memory of this movie was that it had some cool moments of Gohan at this age. Um and there's really not much for Gohan. There's not a lot of highlights for him in this movie, unfortunately.
No, and I mean uh, it's just there's so many opportunities where they could have done just something small and it would have felt like a lot, and we just kind of miss it. And I still don't like get Bojack even at the end of this movie. Like I don't get his motivations. I don't feel anything about his character. Um why he's powerful. Just I'm very confused. At least with some of the other characters, like with Garlic, there's kind of this backstory that's built around these characters and how they relate to our Z fighters, and it adds like an interesting element to it. Or, I mean, shoot, even Lord Slug, they try to add some extra elements to it. Even if you're not a fan of it, they at least tried to do something to tie our planet or our Z fighters to these characters. But with Bojack, it just feels so out of left field.
I think almost every other villain in the movies is, I mean, they're shallow backstories because it's a 50-minute movie, but there's some sort of like narrative thread that you're like, okay, I buy that, sure. Garlic Jr.'s I actually like quite a bit because he had like this rivalry with Kami, and Kami, I think, imprisoned his father and stuff. So I like Garlic Jr.'s story quite a bit. Um, I really like, I think it's Dr. Cochin from The World's Strongest. He's just a flippin' mad scientist. Uh, Turles is meh, but he's basically just a parallel to the Saiyans. Dr. Slug. Um, Slug is he's a Namekian. He's like taking over planets and stuff like that. And then Cooler, of course, is, Frieza's brother. He's going to get revenge for that. Um, Even Broly was at least tied into the narrative of the Saiyans, but this one is just feels out of nowhere. It's just like he was trapped. My planet got blown up, so he's unsealed, and now he wants to kill things.
It's like, okay, but like, what is he? Why is he killing it? Who is Bojack? What impact did he have in the universe before? Because this feels like, I don't know, like you're trying to like take elements of Boo and mix it in with the Cell arc, and I don't know, it just doesn't kind of work.
It's too shallow, and his story, it's not really connected to anything else in the Dragon Ball universe, and I think that's a big part of the problem. The only tiny narrative thread that it has is King Kai's planet blowing up, and even that feels weird. It's like, okay, so your planet was part of the seal, like, what is that? It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but whatever.
Like, does the seal stop working if one part of it breaks? Like, what were the other parts? Are there other people sealed away like this? Like, I have so many questions.
I even would have liked it more if they would have done that same story, and if because King Kai is like the Kai of the North Galaxy, so Earth is in his purview. If they had given Bojack even just a few pieces of dialogue where he was like, "I'm looking for the North Kai," blah blah blah, and I would have been like, "Cool, he's got a motivation." I like that a lot.
There's so many moments like that in Dragon Ball where you're just like, I just need you to say one line to explain this. It doesn't need to be deep or detailed. Just let me know why he's mad at everything, because that would be awesome. Like, I don't know why. How did his people find out about this tournament thing, and why did they participate in it and show up to? Like, I'm so confused about all of this.
It's a struggle, man. This one is rough. I'm looking, like, I wish I had more good things to say about this one. My biggest thing is I like that we get more of this Gohan. That's about the extent of it. It's a hard one to praise, unfortunately.
Hey, well, you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing the abridged version of it.
Yeah. Are you saying that as the joke? Because there's a big joke about the Bojack movie. Do you know about that one for the abridged?
No,
one?
I don't know the joke. I don't know that joke. I have not seen the abridged version.
There is no abridged version. The big joke is
cool.
The big joke is Bojack when, because they said for years that they were going to do Bojack, and then they backed out on it.
Come on, like it's. I say it's allowed. Like, I think it's in the realm of purview. It's not any of the new Dragon Ball stuff.
So the funny thing is, they've done a lot of the other Dragon Ball Z movies, and I don't know that they're ever going to do more Dragon Ball Z stuff beyond their Hiffle content. But I will say, after watching the Bojack movie again, the Team 4-Star, they kept saying how they were like not excited to do an abridged Bojack. And I understand after watching it again.
Well, I mean, it's Bojack doesn't have any personality or real motivations, and there's no like thread connecting everything together. It's all just kind of random. Like, I don't understand. I thought you guys were going to explain more about this tournament, and maybe it had like more than just a rich dad putting on a show for his kid, and like, how did this dad come to me I have so many questions. Like,
none of which will ever be answered.
No, maybe I don't know. Come on, abridge. You need to do the abridged version and then try and just fill in all these blanks for me, because I need some closure here.
I would love to have an abridged version just so that I could have like a version of Bojack that I could enjoy a little bit more than this one.
Actually, what they should do is just do a 2-minute abridge and just like speed run it.
That's all you need. There's there's no meat on the bones of this movie, so
I mean,
that's all you really need.
our entire backstory is just like a couple lines from King Kai. Like that's the entire setup. If you include that, then you included all the story that you need to include in this.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think if you gave it like 5 or 6 minutes, you could do an abridged version of this without really any trouble.
All right. Well, I'm glad I walked into the meme because I was fully unawares.
Yep. Bojack when. I'm sure we'll put that in the hashtag when we release this episode.
All right. That's it
But
for me. I wish I could say more, but there's not much for me to comment on. There's just not much to this movie.
nope, I feel the same. So I think that's going to be it for this episode of Instant Transmission, where we discuss everything Dragon Ball. This has been your host, Todd.
And Dayton.
Don't forget, we're on Patreon and Discord. If you want to help free us from thousands of years of imprisonment, you can find us at patreon.com/ITDBpodcast. The Discord link will be in the episode description, but you can also find it and all of our other links at linktree/ITDBpodcast. Thank you all so much for your support. Be sure to join us next time as we gush about some of the best moments Dragon Ball has to offer in our favorite reveals. From unexpected transformations to newly learned techniques to Master Roshi unleashing his Shenron, we'll be talking about the ones that push our Goku buttons.
Woohoo!
Will we discuss Goku going Super Saiyan? Or Vegeta going Super Saiyan? Or Gohan going Super... This is just going to be nothing but Super Saiyan reveals, isn't it? Find out next time. And to all our fellow Dragon Ball fans, stay safe out there and remember to keep rocking the dragon.
Oh, dude. How many more Dragon Ball movies are there left?
There's some good ones coming up.
As you say that like a battered housewife.